Welcome to Section 2, Total Cost of Ownership. Many businesses ask, how do you compare on-premises versus cloud implementations? The difference between these two options is how they're deployed. An on-premises infrastructure is installed on a company's own computers and servers. There are several fixed costs, also known as capital expenses, that are associated with this traditional infrastructure. Capital expenses include facilities, hardware, licenses, and maintenance staff. Scaling up can be expensive and time-consuming. Scaling down does not reduce fixed costs. A cloud infrastructure is purchased from a service provider who builds and maintains the facilities, hardware, and maintenance staff. A customer pays for what is used. Scaling up or down is simple. Costs are easy to estimate because they depend on service use. It is difficult to compare an on-premises IT delivery model with the AWS cloud. The two are different because they use different concepts and terms. To evaluate an on-premise solution, consider capital expenditure and long planning cycles. This model requires multiple components to buy, build, manage, and refresh resources over time. Evaluation of AWS Cloud involves a discussion about flexibility, agility, and consumption-based costs. So how can you identify the best option? You can identify the best option by comparing the on-premises solution to a cloud solution. Total cost of ownership, or TCO, is a financial estimate intended to help buyers and owners determine the direct and indirect costs of a product or system. TCO includes the cost of a service, plus all the costs that are associated with owning the service. In the cloud environment, TCO is used to compare the cost of running an entire infrastructure environment for a specific workload in an on-premises or colocation facility to the same workload running on a cloud-based infrastructure. Companies use this comparison for budgeting purposes or to make decisions about the optimal deployment solution. Some of the costs associated with data center management include server costs for both hardware and software, and facilities costs to house the equipment, storage costs for the hardware, administration, and facilities, network costs for hardware, administration, and facilities, and IT labor costs that are required to administer the entire solution. When you compare an on-premises to a cloud solution, it is important to accurately assess the true cost of both options. With the cloud, most costs are upfront and readily calculated. For example, cloud providers give transparent pricing based on different usage metrics, such as RAM, storage, and bandwidth, among others. Pricing is often fixed per unit of time. Customers gain certainty over pricing and are then able to readily calculate costs based on several different usage estimates. Compare this process to on-premises technology. Though they're sometimes difficult to determine, calculations of in-house cost must take into account both direct costs that accompany running a server, like power, floor space, storage, and IT operations to manage those resources, as well as indirect costs of running a server, like network and storage infrastructure. This diagram is conceptual, and it does not include every cost item. Depending on the solution you are implementing, software costs can include database, management, and middle-tier costs. Facilities costs can include upgrades, maintenance, building security, taxes, and so on. IT labor costs can include security administration and application administration costs. This diagram includes an abbreviated list to demonstrate the type of costs that are involved in data center maintenance. Here's a sample cost comparison. This example shows a cost comparison for an on-premises solution and a cloud solution over 3 years. For this comparison, two similar environments were constructed to represent the on-premises and AWS environments. Additional direct and indirect costs that are associated with the on-premises solution were not included. The components of the on-premises solution include one virtual machine with 4 CPUs, 16 gigabytes of RAM, and a Linux operating system. Average utilization is 100%, optimized by RAM. The components of a comparable AWS environment include one M4.extra large instance with 4 CPUs, 16 gigabytes of RAM, and the instance type is a 3-year partial upfront reserved instance. The on-premises 3-year total cost is $167,422. The AWS Cloud 3-year total cost is $7,509, which is a 96% savings over the on-premises solution. Thus, the 3-year total savings using cloud infrastructure would be $159,913. This comparison helps a business clearly understand the differences between the alternatives. What is the difference in the costs? Remember, the on-premises solution is predicted. It continues to incur costs whether the capacity is used. In contrast, the AWS solution is commissioned when needed and decommissioned when the resources are no longer in use, which results in lower overall costs. AWS offers the AWS Pricing Calculator to help you estimate a monthly AWS bill. You can use this tool to explore AWS services and create an estimate for the cost of your use cases on AWS. You can model your solutions before building them, explore the price points and calculations behind your estimate, and find the available instance types and contract terms that meet your needs. This enables you to make informed decisions about using AWS. You can plan your AWS costs and usage or price out setting up a new set of instances and services. The AWS Pricing Calculator helps you estimate monthly cost of AWS services, identify opportunities for cost reduction, and model your solutions before building them. It also allows you to explore price points and calculations behind your estimate and find the available instance types and contract terms that meet your needs. The AWS Pricing Calculator enables you to name your estimate and to create and name groups of services. Groups are containers that you add services to in order to organize and build your estimate. You can organize your groups and services by cost center, department, product architecture, and so forth. AWS Pricing Calculator estimates are displayed in multiple ways. The total for your first 12 months is the total estimate for your current group and all of the services and groups in your current group. It combines the upfront and monthly estimates. Your total upfront is how much you're estimated to pay upfront as you set up your AWS stack. Your total monthly is the monthly estimated spend while you run your AWS stack. Within a group, you can see the estimated cost for each service. If you want to price out different ways to build your AWS setup, you can use different groups for each variation of your setup and compare the estimates for the different setups. Hard benefits include reduced spending on compute, storage, networking, and security. They also include reductions in hardware and software purchases, reductions in operational costs, backup, and disaster recovery, and a reduction in operations personnel. Cloud total cost of ownership defines what will be spent on the technology after adoption, or what it costs to run the solution. Typically, a TCO analysis looks at the as-is on-premises infrastructure and compares it with the cost of the to-be infrastructure state in the cloud. While this difference might be easy to calculate, it might only provide a narrow view of the total financial impact of moving to the cloud. A return on investment analysis, or ROI, can be used to determine the value that is generated while considering spending and saving. This analysis starts by identifying the hard benefits in terms of direct and visible cost reductions and efficiency improvements. Next, soft savings are identified. Soft savings are value points that are challenging to accurately quantify, but they can be more valuable than the hard savings. It's important for you to understand both hard and soft benefits to understand the full value of the cloud. Soft benefits include reusing services and applications that enable you to define and redefine solutions by using the same cloud service. There is also an increase in developer productivity as well as improved customer satisfaction. Further, agile business processes can quickly respond to new and emerging opportunities and allow increased global reach. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.